Once more again, our lesson for today will be from the destruction of black civilization, part 1. What became of the black people of Sumer? The traveler asked the old man. But ancient records show that the people of Sumer were black. What happened to them? The old man sighed. They lost their history, so they died. A Sumer legend. The conquest of the blacks by religion. Other invaders found penetration easy under the banners of religion. Full advantage was taken of the fact that the Africans are a very religious people. First came the crescent flag of the Prophet. The Islamic advance was three-pronged, proselytizing missions claiming one brotherhood, widespread intermarriages, and concubinage with African women due to the Muslim system of polygamy, and forceful conversions at sword point. The cross of Jesus Christ followed the Muslim crescent. The cloak of Christianity was a most convenient hiding place for those who had other designs. Hence the drive to convert. Conversion here meant far more than conversion to Christianity. As in the case of Islam, it meant change into the white man's image, his ideas and value system. The real object of worship turned out to be neither Jesus Christ nor his Father, but Western man and Western civilization. Christian brotherhood. Well, yes, in principle. To be practical, you blacks can have all the Christian brotherhood you desire among yourselves. Apartheid was Africa wide under colonialism, and not a peculiarity of the South African system, as so many are led to think. But what happened in the process of converting the blacks to Islam and Christianity was the supreme triumph of the white world over the black. Millions of Africans became non-Africans. Africans who were neither Muslim nor Christians were classed as pagans and therefore required to disavow their whole culture and to regard practically all African institutions as backward or savage. The blacks in their own right became non-persons, members of a race of nobodies, so hopeless that self-realization as personalities, even in a subordinate status, could only be achieved by becoming Muslims or Christians. Indeed, in order to destroy completely not only their African heritage, but also their very African identity psychologically, they were forced to change their names to Arabic and Christian names. Henceforth, if these blacks, Emils and Johns, Mohammeds, Samuels and Abdullahs happen to achieve greatness in some field, the assumption would be that it was Caucasian achievement unless a special effort was made to identify the race of the persons in question. Blacks at home in Africa and blacks scattered over the world bore the names of their enslavers and oppressors. The ultimate in self-effacement that promoted a self-hatred which made pride in the race difficult. That these psychological shackles still handicap not only the rebirth of modern African states, but also blacks everywhere should be obvious to all. Finally, there were the invaders who apparently disdained the cloak of deception and came in fighting. They had no problems. They knew in advance that they would find the Africans almost everywhere and prepared to defend themselves against a well-organized, well-trained body of men. No matter how small, the situation developed as splinter independent little states became more and more numerous. The use of secret agents seems to be as old as organized states, for the practice of sending spies as goodwill ambassadors traders, etc. Well in advance into a country to be invaded goes far back into antiquity. Those sent into Africa from various lands could report back that 1. The Africans were largely a peaceful people engaged in agriculture, mining trades, fishing, the arts, crafts of various kinds, and manufacturing such things as pottery, furniture, building materials, boats, weapons of war, etc. 2. These settled states and their generally highly developed social and political systems indicate their advanced civilization. 3. But they were ill prepared for war except against their neighbors, who also used the kind of spears, bows, and arrows which we had abandoned long since. 4. In general, they had no swiftly moving mounted soldiers. 100 of our dashing cavalrymen with firepower could put 10,000 of them to flight. 5. They are a secretive people, for while they are fully aware of this great mineral wealth of the continent, they use it in a very limited way, mainly for personal adornment, and have no desire to open up to the foreigners for world commerce that will greatly benefit them. Accordingly, they rigidly limit their trading activities, but mainly because Asians hold all of their seacoasts and have them cut off from the world and its trade. 6. Finally, the whole of Africa could, with a few exceptions, be progressively taken over simply by picking off one small state after another. For the overall pattern of the continent is one of countless small independent groups, each for itself and itself alone. There is no unity among them, even for a common defense, since it is the first duty of each chief to protect his people. All seem to be too proud to seek unity with other chiefs, thinking this might indicate a sign of weakness and itself invite attack. Therefore, it could have been truthfully reported to either Asia or Europe any time during the last 1,000 years that the widespread segmentation and attending disunity among the Africans made them easy to conquer and dominate. Some of these 6 hypothetical items would be valid as conclusions regarding a general situation only after the widespread collapse of strong African states. When small splinter states spread over the continent like an epidemic, but as we shall see, the united resistance of the blacks to white Asians' invasion had been going on before recorded history began, and despite all the segmentation and endless invasions from the north, south, east, and west, there were black nations that kept up the resistance of 5,000 years right down into the 20th century. We shall review some of these in the chapters which follow, to be continued.